Abandoned YouTube channels have always been unsettling to me. I get an uncanny feeling upon discovering a channel once full of life, now forlorn and forgotten. Years gone by, over a decade in some cases, with no activity. The sad reality with many of YouTube's abandoned channels is that the creator didn't forsake their station by choice. They were compelled to by tragic circumstances. In today's video, we'll be looking at various disturbing examples of such cases regarding abandoned channels. These are the dark stories behind abandoned YouTube channels. Well, it's finally here, the official WAVYWEBSURF YouTooz vinyl figurine. This is the first piece of merch I've ever dropped on the channel and is the best way to get a little piece of me inside your home. I know you guys are gonna love him. From a shelf, to your desk, to a jar? Wherever you put him, this stylish little guy will keep you company, enhancing the vibes of your home with his signature lava lamp and breezy Hawaiian shirt equipped. Every day's a vacation when little Wavy's at your side. To get your own little YouTooz WAVYWEBSURF, click the link in the description box. And make sure you get one quick because he's only available for 2 weeks. It's a limited time ordeal. On YouTube, there once existed a channel known as Natural Selector 89. When you try to visit this channel today, one is met with a 404 not found and YouTube's default "this page is not available" error screen. A rather unassuming disclaimer. But what you must know is that this 404 page hides one of YouTube's darkest abandoned channels. One that we can get a glimpse of using tools like the Wayback Machine. Natural Selector 89 was once a channel that discussed nihilism, atheism, and posted various threatening videos and comments regarding gun violence. Red flags were all over the place, and outside of TJ Kirk, better known online as the Amazing Atheist, it seemed like nobody saw these obvious warning signs. This is the story of Natural Selector 89, the Finnish YouTube shooter.
Hello everyone, this is me, Natural Selector 89, talking to you, friends and haters and everyone else.
The YouTube channels Natural Selector 89 and Sturmgeist 89 were created by an 18-year-old Finnish student named Pekka Erik Auvinen, who was born in Tuusula, Finland. Now, in early high school, it's said that Pekka performed well, making good grades. It's thought that he planned to attend college after graduating in the spring of 2008, though these plans would be derailed, however, as the young man had some serious emotional issues that would make themselves known. Eric suffered from a set of serious social abnormalities. He was very awkward around his peers and was considered shy by both students and teachers. He would habitually isolate himself from others, and according to some, he was the recipient of a large amount of bullying because of this. Eric also suffered from depression. His parents were concerned for him in this regard and tried to get him admitted to a psychiatric outpatient clinic to treat it. However, his admittance was refused, and the practitioners opted to put him on SSRIs instead of admitting him. Eric would adhere to the SSRI antidepressants at first, but over time, him taking the pills, it became kind of irregular. After Eric started taking antidepressants, his teachers started to notice a change in his behavior. He became very aggressive towards other students, and at one point he allegedly remarked that he was going to die in a, quote, white revolution. Yes, Eric would begin to express radical beliefs, and he vocalized support for far-right and left movements. This combo of increased agitation, threats, and interest in radical groups, it was certainly a worrisome concoction. And this behavior around the time was an ominous precursor for what was to come. Eric's mental state had deteriorated quite a bit in the latter half of high school, and he would eventually set out to physically engage in the violence that he often discussed. Eric would hatch a devious plan. It was reported in March of 2006 that he started laying out the groundwork for a master plan of sorts, which was an attack on the students and faculty of his very school. And while in the planning process for this foul deed, that's when Eric's online activity commences. Eric created his first YouTube channel, Natural Selector 89, on March 15th of 2007. He would use the channel to express himself by uploading various memes, quoting philosophers, reading poetry, as well as discussing events like shootings and natural disasters, as one does. The young man would also frequently talk about atheism and his hatred for religion. These videos contain talking points where he would, in rather juvenile fashion, criticize elements of the various faiths of the world. But in the same hand, he would also confidently proclaim in one of these videos that he was a god and that he should be worshipped. Pick a side, okay? Now, Eric's channel description on Natural Selector 89 is truly a sight to behold, and I think I'll just let TJ Kirk, the amazing atheist, read some highlights from this thing.
I will read it in the most derisive voice possible, but even if I didn't, it would still sound ridiculous. Ahem. I'm basically getting more and more retards on my channel saying I'm insane, crazy, or crap like that, because my views are different, apart from the moral majority. I am a dissident. I am an individual. I am an animal. I am a human. They are not. They live in a delusion which is called the real world. They say to me I must get a life. Heh. Well, all I say is that life is what every individual will make it be. There is no other meaning in this world and live than what individual determines it to be. They also feed my anger with their stupidity.
In one video uploaded by Eric, he would make cryptic comparisons to The Matrix, explaining that he wasn't delusional, he just saw society for what it was. A collection of people who believed they had freedom but were actually enslaved by the government and corporations, and you guys just don't realize it. We truly live in a society. Some of Eric's content would also revolve around the philosophy of social Darwinism. You know, to sum it up, social Darwinism, the same sort of natural selection that applies to plants and animals, well, that applies to humans as well, survival of the fittest, but in a social setting, meaning that certain, well, you might say that he was saying that some races were better than others, or people with disabilities shouldn't be around. Damn, Eric, we're really going this way? Now, as mentioned prior, atheism was a big part of Natural Selector's channel. He hated God and those who believed in religion to the point where it almost seemed like he wanted to enact violence towards these folks. Now, in early YouTube, there is one YouTuber that likely comes to mind when you hear the word atheism. Enter the amazing atheist in the story of Eric Avinen, or Natural Selector. Yes, one content creator that noticed Eric's melodramatic and edgy videos on social Darwinism was TJ Kirk, the amazing atheist. The infamous skeptic YouTuber, early internet champion of atheism, and lover of bananas.
Behold, the atheist's nightmare.
So for those of you who haven't heard, I've recently become embroiled in a sex scandal involving chocolate syrup, hot coffee, and a banana, which apparently is the atheist's worst nightmare.
The amazing atheist was intrigued by Natural Selector's opening videos on nihilism and found his views on atheism questionable. So TJ would start making videos about Natural Selector, justifying his coverage by saying that the Natural Selector account was the primary representative of social Darwinism on YouTube, which even if his videos only got a few dozen of views, that was probably the truth or the case at the time. The amazing atheist would make a couple of videos criticizing Natural Selector's content, basically roasting him for essentially being what he saw as an edgy teenager who was talking about a bunch of philosophical and atheist stuff that he knew nothing about. Basically calling Natural Selector out for going Joker mode and being a whiny bitch.
A user by the name of Natural Selector 89. He is being chosen for 3 major reasons. First and foremost, he is the primary representative of this philosophy on YouTube. No one makes more videos on this exact topic than he does. Secondly, he refuses to defend his position to any subhuman that dares challenge it. Plus, despite Tanashil's insistence to the contrary, he is quite the whiny bitch.
Though TJ would end his criticisms of the Selector with a bit of good faith advice. He tells Eric that he shouldn't care about the people around him becoming mindless automatons, and that he should just worry about his own life, which is some good advice. I'm not actually sure if Natural Selector ever responded directly to TJ in a video of his own, but yeah, It's important to this narrative that you know that the two interacted and that TJ was sort of calling this guy out for his sort of skewed views on atheism and his nihilistic postings. Sometime after the TJ saga, Eric's channel, Natural Selector 89, would actually be suspended from YouTube, this occurring in October of 2007. The reason for this ban is unknown. On the same day of this digital exile, he would create a new channel called Sturmgeist89, and his content would be in the same nature of his previously banned channel, with Eric continuing to talk about religion, his hatred for it, as well as his interest in historical carnages and tragedies. An escalation would soon come, and things would get deranged shortly after, as after Sturmgeist was created, Eric would obtain his own firearms license and purchase a .22 caliber Sig Sauer Mosquito handgun. Equipped with this weapon, he would subsequently upload videos testing out his pistol by shooting apples and lemons in the woods. Eric would become obsessed with this pistol and the other weapons that he would eventually collect in the coming weeks. And with his odd affinity for massacres like school shootings, it was clear where Eric's head was at. Meanwhile, back on YouTube, the amazing atheist who had been keeping an eye on Eric would grow concerned. You see, TJ suspected that Eric had been interacting with a radical online community that was led by a YouTube user who went under the pseudonym Robin McVeigh. This channel name obviously a reference to domestic terrorist Timothy McVeigh. This Robin McVeigh account reportedly posted content that encouraged people to commit school shootings or at least discuss school shootings extensively with almost like a praising nature to it. And apparently Eric had been communicating with this account. TJ, the amazing atheist, would see this and attempt to reach out to Eric, offering emotional support when he saw that he was being misled by this Robin McVeigh account. But alas, TJ apparently couldn't get through to Eric. And seeing the disturbing evolution of Natural Selector / Sturmgeist, TJ would make a call for authorities to investigate the Natural Selector / pro shooter community on YouTube. TJ felt like somebody needed to look into these guys, but sadly, nobody of any authoritative capacity ever would, leading to the following tragedy. On November 7th, 2007, Eric would upload his final video to his channel, which was called Jokala High School Massacre 11/7/2007. In this video, he would share images of his own high school along with 2 photos of him holding guns colored with a crimson filter. It was clear what he was about to do. On the same day, Eric would upload multiple videos and files onto RapidShare, a Mediafire-like website. There he uploaded music and his own manifesto. This manifesto was written in both English and Finnish and would consist of Eric rationalizing his motives for a soon-to-come culling. It was his natural selection process. The manifesto highlighted social Darwinism, and Eric wanted it to be known as an act of terrorism, he says, a total war against humanity. Eric made sure to state in his manifesto that his violent tendency didn't come from any external factors and no one told him to do it. He says it all came from within. Suicide notes were also left on his desk at his house, addressed to his parents. One of these said, quote, "By the time you're reading this, I'm probably already dead." Eric would later enter Jokala High School with his arsenal of guns at approximately 11:40 a.m. 2 minutes later, he would encounter his first student, where he raised his weapon, fired, and killed the student on the spot. Eric would continue to go on to murder a total of 8 people, including an educational welfare officer who had tried to persuade Eric to surrender. Eric would respond to the peace offering by shooting the woman 7 times. Eric also attempted to burn the school down using a mixture of gas and oil. This attempt proved unsuccessful though. A little bit before noon on this day, Eric would get into a shootout with the local police officers that were attempting to negotiate with him. He would try multiple times to reposition himself to get a good shot on him, but luckily he wasn't able to harm any of these officers. Afterwards, Eric would move to the school's bathroom where he would put his bag and his jacket on the floor and attempted to take his own life sometime after 12:04 p.m. He shot himself in the head. However, he wasn't successful. Eric would later be carted to the hospital and he would die. The natural selector's wrath was finally over. This became an international news headline, and on the same day, the amazing atheist would upload a video titled, "I Knew This Would Happen." In the video, he begrudgingly expresses the fact that he wishes that people would have caught on to this earlier. He did predict it after all.
Today, I am vindicated, but I don't feel good about it. And you could probably tell that I'm not happy about my vindication, because it was something that I warned you would happen. Something that I told you to be mindful of, and you didn't. You weren't mindful of it. You criticized me for it. Many of you said that I was being a bully, that I was picking on people. Well, one of those poor little picked on morons decided that he was going to go to school and shoot up his class. And he killed 8 people, including his principal.
In his video, TJ would reveal that Eric had messaged him a few times recently, and apparently Eric showed remorse towards TJ and actually apologized for the past hostilities between them.
I don't really have anything to say. I mean, he was nice to me towards the end of our relationship, which was very tenuous. He wrote me a few times. I ignored him, because I felt like I had already done that. I felt like I had already said my piece about him, and I didn't really have anything else to say. Right before he went on his shooting rampage, he sent me an IM that said, "I apologize for all the past hostilities between us." And I thought to myself at the time, well, that's very nice. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know why you're suddenly apologizing to me, but thank you.
TJ claims that the apologetic message was sent right before the shootings occurred. TJ the atheist would end his video with a statement in which he proclaimed that
we shouldn't turn him into a monster, and we shouldn't turn him into a hero. We need to think of him as exactly what he was, a pathetic fucking teenager who didn't know that what he was doing was wrong.
the Sturmgeist natural selector saga has been forgotten by most. In my view, this is one of the most disturbing instances that led up to an abandoned channel. This next abandoned channel story is truly a sad case. It's the unfortunate tale of Wildebeest 88883333, a teenage creator who was killed in an infamous natural disaster, one that he eerily foreshadowed to years prior to his death. Will Norton was born on August 19, 1992 in Joplin, Missouri, to his parents Mark and Trish Norton. Will grew up with a happy-go-lucky attitude and was described as someone who loved meeting new people and making sure they felt included and welcome. He had aspirations of becoming a filmmaker and would make the decision as a teenager to start a YouTube channel. Will Norton had created his YouTube channel Wildebeest 88883333 on September 26, 2006, and he began making YouTube videos in November 8th of 2007, where he gleefully shared various details of his life with the public.
Oh, life is good. That's right. It's a school night and it's late and I should be asleep, but I can't make myself go to sleep. I am just in way too good of a mood and I don't even know why. I have no reason why, to be honest. Sometimes it's good to just be happy, and sometimes it's good to just make a YouTube video. Well, this was fun. No, I'm kidding. I'm not leaving you yet. Jeez, what are you thinking? Come on, use your brain, you people. Wow, you all are like, man, Wildebeest's on the crack now. No. YouTube drama, stay away.
His videos were mostly comprised of traveling footage as well as interesting trivia, facts about animals, and other subjects that interested him. While creating content, Will would find some success, as he would eventually be invited into the YouTube Partner Program on May 13th of 2008.
Is that an advertisement, Will? Oh, no, what's that? That would be a banner, yeah. That's right, I'm in the YouTube Partner Program. I'm really excited. This is going to hopefully motivate, is a good word, motivate me to make better videos.
He would continue to make YouTube videos about his life as a teenager, his channel serving as a diary of sorts where he talked about pet peeves, life updates, plans for travel, stuff like that.
Here's my pet peeves. Let's take a picture for MySpace.
Alrighty.
You're so completely bored that you decided to take a picture for MySpace. Get your sunglasses on, you look all cool. That's good. I like it.
Oh, I look ugly.
You're not ugly. See? And it really is a good picture. But of course I don't like it. This next one usually happens when you're taking a test. Typically a standardized test. And they do that. Will you stop that, please?
Oh, sorry.
Even one video where he excitedly talks about getting a Hummer for his 16th birthday, his prized possession.
Hey guys, so a lot of you know, my birthday was August 19th, and I appreciate all the nice messages and comments and emails and everything you all sent me wishing me happy birthday. That really made it special. Also, as all of you know, if you're following me on Twitter, I got my car. It's a new Hummer H3.
Now there's one notable video around this time that we need to talk about. This video being something of an uncanny foreshadowing to Will's own demise. It was uploaded in May of 2009, entitled I Nearly Died. It was a crazy story where he talks about how he survived a very powerful thunderstorm on the way to school one day.
It's May 8th, 2009, and today I nearly died. I wake up this morning and it is storming like crazy. I can hear the hail on the roof. I look out my window. The pool is going crazy because there's so much water flowing into it. The trees are crazy. It's still pitch dark outside and it's like 7:20. So I get ready really fast and I rush to school, out the door, and then I'm leaving for school and there is just tons of rain. And it's like the street is just like one entire puddle. And I'm going and there's trees down in the road. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be late. I passed through 18 stoplights on my way to school. 4 of them exploded. And then I saw so many ambulances, which kind of freaked me out because I had to pull over into the big puddles and I was like, ah. Keep in mind, I drive a Hummer, so really I shouldn't have any reason to be scared. And then I turn on the main road of my town, and the wind is so crazy. You just see water. It's like horizontal rain, and all the cars are like veering. I was having trouble keeping my car on the road. I drive a Hummer. This should not be happening.
While telling the story, he details how he almost lost his life in the squall due to its intensity.
Anyway, I get there, and I turn on the road that my school is on. And there's a power plant right by it, and it explodes. Like sparks go all across the road and like hit the road. Oh my gosh, it was crazy, right in front of my car. I was freaking out. I made it safely home, and I think I'm just gonna go take a nap for the rest of my life because I didn't die. Oh my gosh, I'm done. I am done. I'm never driving in weather again, ever. Bye guys.
This wouldn't be Will's only encounter with violent storms, as the dark irony of this piece of content would make itself apparent many years later. Meanwhile, as Will continued to create content, it would be revealed that the young YouTuber wasn't the only one in the Norton family who had the urge to be creative online, as his sister Sarah Norton also uploaded videos to her own YouTube page. Her content mostly consisted of makeup tutorials and fashion vlogs. The two were extremely close, as she described him as the most incredible brother anyone could ask for, and she said Will was someone who truly valued happiness. Now back to Will, he continued to find success and even had some brushes with actual famous people. See, at one point Will expressed that his biggest idol in life was Kat Von D from LA Inc.
If you don't know this about me, which a lot of you do, I am obsessed with Kat Von D. Like, here's my room. This is a picture of my room. Yes. That's how obsessed I am with Kat Von D. I have her book. I have 5 posters of her. I think about her constantly. She's through the background on my phone and on my computers and everything. Yeah.
Apparently, the video of him discussing this got back to Kat Von D, and the artist tweeted at him. This resulted in the two connecting, and Will later going to LA to meet up with her. Will made a YouTube video talking about all of it. Increasingly successful in the online world, Will also thrived at school. In school, Norton was an excelling student, and as he continued to make content on his YouTube channel, his passion for filmmaking only increased. And that goal would be fulfilled near the end of his senior year of high school, when he would be accepted into Chapman University, which was a difficult program to get into. Will Norton's life seemed to be set. But sadly though, as you all know, Will the Beast is an abandoned channel. And with a dedicated creator like Will Norton, it's obvious that his absence wasn't by choice. In May of 2011, Will would have another run-in with a severe storm. This time, the young man wouldn't live to tell the tale. Will Norton was set to graduate from Joplin High School on May 22, 2011. The ceremony was held at the Missouri Southern State University campus, which was near the outskirts of Joplin, northeast of downtown. Storms were in the forecast on this day, but few in town expected what was to come. As Will's graduation ceremony wrapped up, weather conditions began to rapidly deteriorate. From what Will's sister Sarah recounts, they weren't all too concerned though, as only a tornado watch had been issued for the area that day, meaning that there was a possibility of a tornado, but an active twister hadn't been spotted. Tornado watches are common in the Midwest, especially springtime in Missouri. Many folks from Joplin likely expected nothing more than a thunderstorm. Will wasn't worried. He had survived many in his time. So at this graduation, despite the weather, there wasn't much panic. Will and company certainly weren't dilly-dallying though, and with their son officially graduated, the Norton family decided to head home. They would split up, with his sister and his mother driving together, and Will and his father driving home in Will's prized Hummer. As Sarah drove home, she noticed the sky turning an ominous black, and winds picked up. Her gut began to tell her this was no routine thunderstorm. Something big was descending upon Joplin. Driving with her mother in the passenger seat, Sarah developed a sense of urgency to get home, flooring her vehicle as fast as she could, running red lights to beat out what looked to be a developing tornado. Sarah's tornado instincts didn't fail her this day, as such a twister had just touched down near Joplin. It was a tornado that would unleash natural horrors dwarfing all that the state had seen in the past several decades. The 2011 Joplin EF5 twister had come. This massive, nearly mile-wide tornado approached Joplin from the southwest and was killing virtually all who crossed its path. All on the roads at this point were sitting ducks for the storm. Sarah and her mother would make it home as the storm raged. Their power soon went out and debris buffeted their home. Thankfully, though, it appeared they were going to be spared from a direct hit by the tornado. But what about Will and his father? Desperate for an update, Sarah called Will on his cell phone, to which he would quickly pick up. It was difficult to make out what was going on, but Sarah says in this brief call she could hear Will's father faintly yell out, "There's a tornado, pull over!" And moments later, a gusting roar and a loud crash overtook the audio of the phone, and the call was almost immediately disconnected.
And we talked, and I was trying to talk to him. I said, "Dad, are you there? Can you just answer me, please? Are you there? Are you there?" And so finally, I heard him say, "Will," because Will was driving right now. I was in the passenger seat of his H3. And I finally heard my dad say, "Will, pull over, pull over, pull over." He goes, "There's the tornado, pull over." And then I just heard this wind suck them up, and I could tell it was really bad. I could tell it wasn't just outside the car somewhere. I could tell that they were getting blown up in the tornado. They were getting sucked up, and I could hear glass and everything. And then finally the phone went dead, and I kept saying, "Dad, can you hear me? Just tell me you're okay. I love you. Can you hear me?"
It seemed as if Will had crossed the path of the tornado and his vehicle might have gotten sucked up into the vortex and tossed. Yes, during the tornado, Will's Hummer had found itself right in the middle of the storm. It said that when they were being sucked up by the twister, Will's father attempted to protect his son, covering him up while the tornado overtook the car. But the force of the tornado was too strong, ripping Will not only from his father's arms, but from the entire vehicle. Will was snatched out of his seatbelt by the winds and sucked through the Hummer's sunroof. His fate was in the hands of Mother Nature at this point. The gargantuan Joplin EF5 was the deadliest tornado to occur in the United States since 1947. It killed 158 people, as well as an additional 8 indirectly. Injuries from the storm added up to 1,150. Over 8,000 buildings were damaged. Among those, 4,000 were destroyed, amounting in $2.8 billion in damages to the area. Among all of these grim statistics, it was the costliest tornado in American history. The remaining community members of Joplin were left to pick up the pieces of this freak storm, and their first task was to rescue those trapped and to find the missing. The Nortons were dealing with such an instance of missing family members. Will and his father never returned home. Sarah and Mom would drive around town for a while, and they did find Will's Hummer. It was completely ravaged, and Will and his father were nowhere to be found in the wreckage. They hoped that perhaps they were rescued and taken to a hospital, so the remaining family members would go to the local hospital, and there they would discover that Will's father was indeed there. He had had a torn bicep and several other serious injuries. When he came to, he would inform them that Will was sucked out of the car and he wasn't sure if he was alive. Over the next several days, the family would continue their searches and continue to call hospitals to see if Will had showed up. No luck. Eventually, 5 days later, the family would finally be notified that Will's body had been found. It was in a pond near the area that the tornado had destroyed his vehicle. Will was dead. As news traveled about Will the Beast's passing, many reached out to social media to express their condolences, including Kat Von D, Will's idol, who would draw a picture in memory of Will Norton. On June 9th of 2011, Sarah Norton would upload a video going over everything that had happened to their family from her perspective. She would also go on to applaud her brother and say that he had been a man of God, and he was truly blessed to have lived a miraculous life where he saw many things and had many adventures. Sarah was astonished by the love and support that he was receiving posthumously from fans and viewers. In 2013, after receiving donations, the Rotary Club at Will's school opened a handicap-accessible ballpark playground that was named after Will, called the Will Norton Miracle Field. As a result of the Joplin EF5, Will's channel remains abandoned to this day. His sister Sarah would issue another memorial for him on her channel in 2020. And I think I'll end this segment with a brief quote from that.
So what I usually try to do every year on May 22nd is try to remember Will and do things that he loved to do. So that usually means going to Starbucks and getting a white mocha, his favorite drink, or going to Sonic and getting an ocean water, which was his other favorite drink. He loved to take pictures with his tongue out, colored blue from the ocean water. And I like to try to spend the day with people who I love most and who understand what I'm going through. So that usually means my husband, obviously my daughter now, and then lots of times we spend the day with my parents. Sometimes I like to go to Will's gravesite, but if we're being honest, like that's not where I feel closest to him. So I love having pictures of Will around me, especially on this day. If you'll notice, I turned my entire film room into like this wildebeest fun room, and I absolutely love looking at these pictures. It makes me so happy. I love going through all the pictures and videos on my phone that I have of Will and me. It just brings me a lot of joy and happiness, and I don't know, just reminds me of all the great memories that we've shared together.
Harley Dilly and Harley Dilly 2.0 were channels created by a teenage boy from Ohio named Harley Dilly.
What's up, boys? It's your boy, Harley Dilly.
These pages were a hub for the teenager to upload video gaming content around the Madden series and the trading card game that was ancillary to this franchise. But Harley's content isn't what makes him notable. It's the bizarre circumstances surrounding the abandonment of his channel. See, Harley abruptly vanished, and his channel has been left untouched since December of 2019. In what would eventually become a law enforcement investigation and an alleged conspiracy plot that swept the online true crime sleuth community into a frenzy, this is the story of Harley Dilly. Let's begin with a bit of personal life details surrounding Harley. It's said that he has some issues as a teenager. 14-year-old Harley Dilly from Port Clinton, Ohio, his life revolved around gaming. According to his mother, Heather Dilly, her son had a video game addiction. Gaming would cause turmoil in the Dilly house frequently. Heather revealed in an interview that at one point the family had become concerned with this perceived addiction and they took away Harley's games, resulting in him throwing a particularly angry fit that caused the police to be called. Outbursts such as this were said to have been somewhat common from Harley. The young gamer suffered behavioral issues and was diagnosed with Asperger's when he was a young boy. As a child, he would get in trouble at school as well and had to regularly attend counseling for his behavioral issues. As a teenage gamer, Madden football in particular became an outlet for Harley to channel out pent-up energy. He found the competition in these games too enticing to put down. According to Harley's mother, as his skills in Madden and other games grew, Harley expressed that he wanted to become a full-time gamer and online gaming influencer. He had aspirations to be a YouTube content creator or a streamer perhaps. Make that money, you know what I'm saying? Harley's personality would become completely defined by his affinity for gaming and online content creation. His passion for it so obvious to his peers that Harley was voted most likely to become a YouTuber in his high school yearbook once. He would regularly upload gaming videos and also these vlog style videos where he could be seen complaining about his parents. All this content would be posted to the Harley Dilly channel. Yeah, in addition to his gaming content, as I just mentioned, he would sometimes discuss issues in his personal life in detail, family drama notably. One notable video in this regard was published in October of 2018. And it has him discussing an altercation with his mother, which ended up with the police getting called, similar to a scenario we talked about earlier.
Hey guys, what's up? It is Harley Dilly. probably one of my worst days of my life. So basically, I was at school and I was science test. I finished it and my computer says 1% battery left. So I get to the next class and I put it on charger as quick as possible, but it didn't charge. None of the computers would take a charge. So I took it back and I had to fill out a complaint, and that's one of the most expensive parts of the computer. And my mom said she's not paying anything. That's when I got home. So then my mom wanted me to go with her to go get a friend, and I said I don't want to. I have work to do, so I want to go home. She said no. We argued for about a good 5 minutes. Then she snapped. She said she was gonna call police, and she said she already did. She said, "Who do you think that first call was to?" And she said it was the police.
Harley seemed rather upset with his life circumstances, to say the least. Now, sometime around this upload, Harley Dilly would create a new YouTube channel called Harley Dilly 2.0. His reasoning for doing so is stated in the channel's description, quote, "This is my main channel but temporarily named because other channel is getting deleted in 2 years." And I gotta be honest, I don't exactly know what Harley means here. Maybe this was like a secret channel that his parents couldn't know about. I really have no idea. I don't know if his first channel was terminated or what, but his explanation just doesn't make any sense. If that makes sense to you, will you please tell me what that means in the comments? So from August of 2019, Harley Dilly would post to the Harley Dilly 2.0 YouTube channel. And after creating this channel, he seemed full of energy and was excited for the future, stating in one video that the depression was over.
Oh boy, the depression is over.
In his first video, he would declare that his main goal would be to reach 1,000 subscribers within the next 2 years.
But now we are on to bigger, new things. And that means that this Harley Dilly YouTube channel, the goal is to reach 1,000 subs in the next 2 years.
Most of the content on this channel would consist of gaming videos with him playing games revolving around Madden, particularly Madden Mobile, because apparently his family had taken away all of his gaming consoles for bad behavior, and the phone version of Madden was all that he had left. Speaking of Harley's parents, they have shared their thoughts regarding Harley's online presence on occasion. And unsurprisingly, they really weren't all too thrilled, at least according to a criminal justice update posted by the Attorney General's office in Ohio. They said that Harley was just super careless in the way that he published content, like he would be filming a vlog update video while taking a bath, naked, which I guess the kid didn't realize why that might be a problem. It's also claimed that Harley would post his address and phone number on social media, which is bad for a variety of reasons, and that coupled with the bathtub thing, I mean, I get it, parents. All this aside though, as Harley grew older, problems only worsened in his personal, social, and family life. In school, Harley continued to get into trouble. According to his mother, he was at one point suspended from school for allegedly slapping a student, which would lead to him getting an assault charge. According to his mother, Heather, when Harley finally returned to school, he would go on to hit another kid.
But he also got in trouble at school. He got OSS for slapping a kid in school, and he has assault charges. In fact, we just got the papers Saturday. I don't even know what day it is anymore. And he never thought that he would get that. They're not going to do anything. They didn't do anything. So we kept telling him, no, you're going to end up in DH if you don't change your ways. But he don't believe it. He's not accepting that this is a consequence. Because then he got in trouble after he went back from OSS. It was the next week sometime. He got in trouble again for kicking a boy in the balls.
Harley would also have more altercations with his parents, disputes that reportedly would result in him running away to stay with friends. The only reasonably stable element of Harley's life at this point was his YouTube channel. He continued to post through 2019, and his page seemed like the only place that we truly see Harley happy. He loved making content despite his family woes, school drama. Harley found a way to put a smile on his face when the camera was on and the gameplay was rolling. So with this being his only respite from the chaos that was his life at the time, why did he stop uploading? Why does the Harley Dilly 2.0 channel sit abandoned? Harley's last YouTube upload would be published on December 10th of 2019. It was Madden mobile gameplay with commentary. Nothing out of the ordinary.
The only game I watched of week 14 was the Browns, and then I watched a little bit of the Chiefs versus Patriots. Boom, Austin Eckler with the touchdown. Well, that took a while to score a touchdown with him. Not saying that it's his fault.
A little over a week later, a mysterious set of circumstances would play out that had the internet and law enforcement up in a frenzy looking for answers, as Harley would go missing. According to reports, on Friday, December 20th, 2019, Harley woke up and reluctantly went to school after insisting to his parents that he should be allowed to stay home for the day. His parents wouldn't budge, as it was the last day of school before Christmas break, and they thought, Harley, you really just need to go. I mean, you're about to get a vacation anyways. So later, Harley Dilly would be spotted on a neighborhood surveillance camera heading to the direction of his school. However, Harley would never make it to his destination on this day. He seemingly vanished from the face of the earth and would never be seen alive again. The school day would come to an end, and Harley never comes home. His father would report his son missing to the authorities on the following day, on December 21st at 11:50 p.m. Now, the reasoning given that they waited for such a long time in between the disappearance and the report is apparently because they were used to Harley running away and thought that this was just another one of those circumstances. Maybe he was staying with a friend. But after an entire day had passed, they figured that wasn't the case and started to actually get worried that something bad had happened to Harley. Yeah, it is a little bit suspicious and kind of weird. I mean, many of you out there probably grew up in a house where that wouldn't be the case, but whatever. On December 22nd, 2019, police began searching a 150-acre area around where Harley was last spotted, hoping for a miracle. Given Harley Dilly's history for running away, Port Clinton police didn't initially suspect foul play. They thought it was just a missing child case. Being treated as a runaway child case of sorts, on Christmas Eve, the investigation would escalate as the local authorities would issue a missing child advisory. The search would go nationwide on December 27th. This story would hit the internet as well, and internet sleuths from around the world would begin to pry into the details of the case and the history of Harley Dilly's online presence. These sleuths began to become suspicious of his mother. Internet detectives soon took to social media to accuse Harley Dilly of murdering her own son, sourcing interviews that she had previously participated in with the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, claiming she was lying in these interviews about everything. They also found an old stream that Harley did where he was complaining about being locked out of his house, and this would be used as evidence against Heather Dilly by these conspiracy theorists.
And I went to talk to my assistant principal because he's like the only person I can really trust in this. So I went to talk to him, and he told me that my mom never called the police. So she lied to me to get me scared, and she locked me out of the house. So right now I'm outside. Yep, the house is locked. It is 3:30. I haven't ate anything.
They claim that she was a neglectful mother, or at the worst, killed him. Real-world police, they didn't share the suspicion that the internet sleuths had, though, surprisingly. The police had actually done somewhat of an investigation on the parents already, even having cadaver dogs go into their house and look around for Harley. They didn't treat them as suspects at all. They had been totally ruled out. Heather was also spearheading a social media effort at the time to find her son, and even posted a video to Facebook urging people to help find Harley.
Fine, you all want to see what I look like when I'm not taking my meds to help. You want to know what it's like to have a son missing. It hurts. It makes you feel like you can't go on, but you have to go on. You don't understand. You seriously don't know what it feels like. Stop basting my family. Harley, please come home. Please come. Let him go. Please. I want him home. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of being strong when I can't be. You guys are such monsters.
A guilty party could do something like this, I guess, but it's unlikely. You know, people were saying she was pulling a Christopher Watts move, if you know what I'm saying. Despite the mother's visible distress regarding this situation, online sleuths continue to accuse her of murder and other serious crimes, you know, maybe kidnapping or child trafficking. The police would catch wind of these armchair amateurs and would comment, quote, "It's unbelievable," Chief Hickman said. "I never really looked at it that way until I started following other cases of people who went missing. Some of the same people commenting on Harley were on those pages. So I don't know if they just sit at home and think up conspiracies. I don't understand it." An award of nearly $20,000 was offered to anyone who knew about where Harley was or what could have happened to him. And this reward would eventually help in police getting a break. On January 13th of 2020, a tip would come in that led to police performing a search of an unoccupied summer home that was across the street from the Dilly residence. There, they would make an astonishing discovery, as Harley's coat and his glasses were found on the second floor of the property on the ground. Knowing he could likely be somewhere at the house, they performed a hurriedly yet thorough search of the entire place, and during this final scrying effort, Harley Dilly's body was found. The location of the body baffled all in attendance, as his remains were lodged in the chimney of the home. Looked pretty sus at first, but after thinking things over, police determined that there was still no foul play. They presented the following explanation for Harley's untimely death. Harley Dilly left his house that morning and never had any intent to go to school. Rather, what he was going to do was find a place that he could camp out for the day and simply return after school was out, so it looked like he went without ever having to go. It was cold outside that day, so Harley needed somewhere somewhat warm to stay in. And that's when he got the idea to stay at this vacant summer home. This house actually has an antenna pole outside of it that is climbable. And they said that Harley climbed up this pole, scaled up it, and then basically tried to enter the house through the chimney, fell through, and got stuck. In the process of trying to get himself loose, Harley would lose his jacket and his glasses, which fell down and emptied out through the bottom of the chimney. He was never able to free himself, and Harley died from asphyxiation, lodged in the flue. Many in the local community were satisfied with this explanation, and Harley's death was deemed a freak accident of sorts, a tragedy nonetheless. But even with his body found and the family officially cleared, the online mob still raged, and they continued to try to pin the mother as being responsible, or went as far as alleging that the cops were trying to cover for them. Something that really fueled the conspiracy fires took the form of this picture, which showed Harley's coat hanging from atop of a door in the same house where Harley's body was found. This photo is somewhat confusing, as if Harley Dilly died in the chimney flue, then how did his coat get on the door? Well, it was later explained that during evidence collection and photography, one of the detectives put this, coat up on the door. Were the police lying, and was this coat put up there by whoever killed Harley or whoever had trafficked him? Well, and credit to the conspiracy theorists, there was something wrong about this, but it's not in the way that they were suggesting. The police had actually fucked up in the process of taking evidence, and somebody had moved the jacket up to this spot on this door, and a photo was taken of that as well, which made it seem conflicting to the story that they presented. Basically, somebody moved some evidence that they weren't supposed to move and took a photo that they shouldn't have taken. This lapse caught the police department off guard, as the rookie mistake got published online. Quote, "The mistake that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life is we hung the coat on that door," Chief Hickman said. "We should have blocked the windows during the search, but that's hindsight." When police confirmed that they were in fact the ones who put the coat above the door, the ferocious true crime addicts didn't believe their story. This virtual aggression manifested into the real world as protesters and demonstrators would flock around Port Clinton all through this investigation and even after the body had been found. They criticized the job authorities were doing and demanded the cops bring in the FBI and National Center for Exploited and Missing Children. In all reality, both entities had been a part of this investigation for weeks at that point. Some protesters even got arrested for trespassing onto the property where Harley was found dead. The online sleuths would later create a petition on change.org for the arrest of Harley's parents, citing negligence. This petition got over 40,000 signatures. Despite a concluded investigation and official documents that exonerated the parents from any wrongdoing, people on the internet still believe that Harley Dilly's parents were responsible for his death to this day. There are some elements behind his disappearance that are somewhat suspicious, But I think if you piece together the backstory of Harley and his troubles at home, I think it is certainly possible for a kid to try to climb up an antenna tower and camp out into a house. Naturally, Harley Dilly's channel now remains as an abandoned YouTube channel, and in case you were wondering, that's how it happened. That was the story of Harley Dilly. It's always unsettling when you discover an abandoned YouTube channel. Finding a page that was once full of life and activity sitting dormant and forlorn. It always makes you wonder what became of the creator. The answer isn't always clear at first. Now, most of the time these folks decided YouTube just wasn't for them and they moved on to greener pastures. But in a handful of cases, like Kenny Veach, for example, and the next abandoned channel that we're discussing, their final video is directly related to the reason of the untimely abandonment. Which brings us to the story of HobeStobe, the train surfing YouTuber who met an unfortunate demise. James, or Jim William Stobie, aka Stobe the Hobo or HobeStobe, was born October 23, 1984. James would join the US Coast Guard and serve 4 years. He would be honorably discharged. In addition to being a military veteran, Stobie was a veteran train hopper as well, and had been doing this for 10 years at the time of his channel's creation. During his ventures, he would document his escapades in what was more or less a guerrilla filmmaking style, showcasing his travels from train to train across the country.
Greetings, viewers. Stobe Cold Steve Austin here. Stobe the Hobo, whatever. Basically, little update here. This is, first of all, this is near Lake McConaughey, Nebraska. And this line here, for the rail fans in the audience, this is the UP Powder River Basin connector line from North Platte and the big, Overland Main Line, Chicago to Oakland line. This is where the coal comes down out of the mines. We got double tracks. So this way you've got North Platte, and then that way is the mines. There's tons of trains through here.
These rail riding ventures would be uploaded to his YouTube channel, which was created on February 15, 2012. His first video would debut 3 days later. In the video, the 27-year-old Stobe would introduce himself as a regular guy who just needed to get from place to place.
Hello, my name is Jim Stobie. Let me tell you a little about myself before we get to our main topic. I'm 27 years old, and my age, I've kind of come to a point where when I travel, I want to travel in style, I want to get there fast, and I want to feel very comfortable. And so therefore this new method is something I will now showcase to you.
Instead of using more conventional methods, Jim would convey that he had a different approach, train hopping.
The method of travel I plan on using is known as cargo freight train riding.
His first video acted as a tutorial of sorts, showcasing what items you bring when you're train hopping and the procedure that you use from going to train as safe as possible.
I will now detail the various accoutrements I will be bringing along with me on this trip. A reasonably warm sleeping bag, a crude and yet fashionably colored pack, a comfortable one-piece fleece jumpsuit to be worn underneath this one-piece cotton jumpsuit. And while this one-piece cotton jumpsuit does come off as a bit crude and forlorn, might I add that very many famous movie stars and musicians have worn this exact outfit.
Now, many might romanticize train hopping, but in reality, it's a dirty, rugged way to travel, and is incredibly dangerous no matter how careful you are. Jim tried his best to be as cautious as possible in his videos, but nonetheless, the threat of death was always there. Stobie told the Daily Dot in 2016, quote, "I've tried a lot of ways to get attention as an artist. This seems to be the only one that people notice. I'm really disappointed with modern boring life in the United States and the fact that traveling basically requires a personal vehicle these days. I only make YouTube videos that are original content, and this is a way to do that with the total glut of material on YouTube these days." He would also speak to the Daily Dot about the dangers of train hopping, saying, quote, Trying to get on or off at high speed, or with too much alcohol in my system. A specific instance would be dismounting while fatigued or blitzed, wiping out and watching a wheel go 2 inches from my face, the man apparently almost falling off and getting hit by the train's wheel. Many believe that Jim was some sort of homeless man given the name of his channel, but in fact he had his own apartment and had many other talents that could bring him money. Jim was an accomplished piano player and scored music for the background of his videos. Not to mention he was in the military, meaning that he likely got some benefits. Throughout his ventures, Stobie would travel through the state of Illinois, the cities of Toledo, Fargo, and Jacksonville, and other cities around the country. He also traveled to Indonesia, as well as hitchhiked to Denver on July 4th to see fireworks there. As the channel gained traction, Stobie would pitch the idea for fans of his content to fund his travels. That way, he could provide even more content for viewers to enjoy.
Let's talk about the costs of doing one of the trips I do for a minute. I'd like to start by saying any voyage, whether you're going to Mars with Elon Musk or traveling by cargo train, requires a budget. Unless you want to eat dumpster food and drink tap water for an entire month, you're gonna need money for food, beer, an occasional hotel, and then just some extra cash for a bus ticket if you get stranded or a trespass ticket. Any number of things.
He would also include Patreon incentives for donators. From 2012 to 2017, Stobie would regularly upload his adventurous thrill rides to his channel. Almost 40 episodes were published. His videos had something of a nostalgic feel to them. They were very lo-fi in quality, and it was almost as if, you were watching a guy LARP as like a Great Depression era train hopper / panhandling. It was a way to see a part of America that you really don't see normally, the tracks and the area around that. Jim had other YouTube plans as he wanted to create a channel where he was stationary in it. He admitted that he had ideas for a commentary channel that he would call Stobe Attack, where he commentated on current events and news stories that popped up. But sadly, Stobe would never get to partake in this second channel, as activities on the first would lead to his demise. One of Jim's last train ride adventures would be uploaded to YouTube on November 6, 2017, in which he would jump on a train in Wendover, Wyoming. In the video, you could see the type of risks he routinely took. A precarious stunt with a confident man moving with the expertise of a 10-year train hopping veteran.
To be really careful till I'm in front up here. Careful. Okay. It's not great. This is not great, but it'll work. I hope.
Sadly though, shortly after this video, Stobie would be involved in a terrible mistake that would cost him his life. An unlisted video published to his YouTube channel would show Jim in the Baltimore area. He was talking about avoiding rain and apparently was about to perpetrate a train hop.
This train actually goes all the way to Selkirk. This is the 410. But, I mean, the rain, forget it. We got heavy rains going on, which I'm not into.
Now, it's never actually been officially concluded how Stobe really died, but on November 8th of 2017, HobeStobe was found dead in Baltimore, Maryland, around some train tracks. Apparently, he had fallen off of an overpass onto the tracks below. The man was dead at only 33 years old. Stobe's death would lead to a lot of confusion online, as many couldn't fathom a veteran train hopper like him making what they saw as a rookie mistake. There were many conspiracy theories surrounding his death, but it was pretty clear that Stobe had either been hit by a train or had fallen while trying to hop on one. His body was identified due to his fingerprints that were put into the database when he was in the military. Stobe's obituary would read, quote, "To some, he will become a legend through his life's work, and to others, he will be fondly remembered solely for his quirky yet lovable self, as evidenced by his humor, fierce wit, compassion, deadpan delivery, solicited and unsolicited commentary on just about anything, unbridled passion for unconventional living, mad piano skills, the enormous talent that he generously shared with all the lives he intersected with, and countless other things." He will indeed be greatly missed by all who knew him while leaving an irreparable gaping hole in the hearts, minds, and souls of his family. Around the time of his final upload, Stobe had close to 11,000 subscribers. He now has 56,600 to this day. His channel remains abandoned. She seemed happy, excited to entertain, and was adored by thousands of viewers. They called her the British Boxy. Colossal Carnage 08 was primed to be a massive success on YouTube. Her last upload was May 2nd of 2010. This is her story. In January of 2008, YouTuber Boxy Babe, or Boxy as she's most commonly known on the internet, set the web on fire after going viral, showcasing her bubbly charisma and personality.
Okay, hi, my name is Foxy, and I was just surfing on the internet like I do, and I happened across your video, and so I watched it, and you were talking about me, and so I just thought that I should make you this video to clear a couple things up.
There were many Boxy clones out there after the Queen went viral. You could say there was an untapped market for this type of creator. One British YouTuber, likely inspired by Boxy, would show up online about a year later, boasting a similar persona to Boxy. Her name was Chloe Shaw. Chloe created her YouTube channel Colossal Carnage 08 on December 18th, 2008, creating her first video July 24th, 2009, when she was 17 years old. About a year later, though, her career would be non-existent online, as there was something else behind this bubbly personality that was unnoticed by friends and family. This brace-faced teenager's first video consisted on her giving herself a scene kid makeover.
Hi there YouTube, my name's Colossal Carnage, and it's about 3 in the morning, and I'm bored out my brains, and I was talking to a friend, and he said, oh, you know, I'm about to log off, because I know you're probably going to do an all-nighter and can't bother to go back on the PS3, I'll give you something to do. And so now we have a little wager, because I'm, well, how people have the, like, I'm seen, I'm this, I'm hardcore, I'm goth, and so I don't have one. I'm just whatever. I'm usually big baggy top from HMV and skinny jeans. Whatever works. And he said, I dare you to go scene and then post it on YouTube. So I thought, yeah, why not?
Videos like this back in the day got a lot of interaction, and her comments would be filled with pervs commenting on her looks. You know, it's a 17-year-old girl, guys. But Chloe fought back against these creeps and trolled them by making a jump scare video. While in school, Chloe was a successful theater kid who was attending the Birmingham Theater School. She was very witty and had great camera presence. Using her charisma, she was able to foster something of a fan base. Her mom says, quote, she had a lot of fans on YouTube, and they just liked her quirkiness and her sense of humor, unquote. Chloe seemed to have had an interesting rapport with her fans, as she would often tease them and joke about some of the people watching her saying they were losers, insinuating that they needed to go outside and touch grass. One such video like this is, get the fuck off YouTube, losers.
Norm, presume your name is, I saw your rant video, and what I can take out of it is, 1, you're a fat ass, and 2, you need to lose weight, not because, well, not because you might enjoy being a fat ass, I can't presume anyone would. It's obviously a health issue if you're getting convulsions. But yeah, lose some weight, it'll do you good, and people still won't take you seriously even when you do lose weight. Just heads up there, keep doing this. So try that. It's probably the best, you fat piece of shit.
Chloe would continue the trend of giving herself makeovers and uploading 2 a.m. rant videos where she would criticize popular YouTubers for some time. Doing this, she got close to 300 subscribers, and she was so happy about this, she uploaded a celebration video when she crossed the mark in September of 2009.
Hello, it's me, and I have 300 subscribers, and I thought to celebrate I should do a Sparta thing. You know, as in the movie 300, yeah. I was too lazy for that, and I found that I couldn't be arsed. So instead, I'm going to tell you about a dream I had.
She would also share with fans that theater school was going well and that she had aspirations to act in the future. She detailed how she got a role in a Shakespearean play, and she did a makeover on her channel showing fans what the character would look like.
I said in one of the videos, I think, that we're doing A Winter's Tale. Well, that's our Shakespeare project, and I have the role of Mamilius, who's a little boy, and Autolycus. Now, Autolycus is a con man, or in my case, a con woman, and the way we've set it is, well, the second half of the play is 20 years after the first half of the play, and we're doing it in the 40s and then the 60s. So I'm basically a hippie selling myself and drugs to everyone because it's all about free love and hippies and woo.
Around the time of the play that she was in premiering in 2009, Chloe would upload a video revealing that she had finally gotten her braces removed. She seemed happy and everything seemed to have been going great. She explains that she just got a guy's number that she was interested in and was hanging out with old friends and reconnecting with people from her past. Sadly though, things weren't as they seem, as Chloe had something of a mask on, you could say. After December of 2009, Chloe Shaw's uploads to the Colossal Carnage channel started slowing down. Her final upload would be on May 2nd of 2010. It seemed like any other upload from Chloe. She just was being bubbly and charismatic in the video, rambling about whatever she wanted.
Hello, it's been a while. Sorry about that. It's just, I've been in the outdoors living life, and I dyed my hair purple, which you can't really see here, but I'll put a photo in. Pah! So yes, that's how my hair actually looks now. But you can't see because it's so dark in my room, because I hang around in the dark to reflect the darkness of my... No, not really, I can be an emo for shit. I hope you're all brilliant. This is going to be a quick video now, because I've got home and I'm flustered and I thought, do a video, do it now when you're excited and happy, and not doing what you've done for the past 3 weeks, 2 months, possibly, and go, oh, just wait, don't worry, they won't mind, and I've ended up getting more subscribers, and I'm sorry, so hello new people, I love you old people, big hugs all around, I hope you can feel the love here. Yeah, I totally lost where I was going with that, but I'm quite comfortable hugging myself. There's no one else will. No, they will. They will, if I drag them.
This video was titled Pal. It's the most viewed video on her channel, and that's because it was the last thing she ever uploaded before committing suicide. Reportedly 3 weeks after this video, Chloe Shaw made her way to the Sully Hill Park. She wouldn't leave the park alive. She was found later in the evening by a passing dog walker. Chloe's death was a shock to her family and many in her fan base. The exact reasoning behind her making this choice is unclear to this day, but there are some theories out there. There was a contingent of online trolls that despised these creators that were similar to Boxy and Chloe. And some speculate that, well, she might have been receiving some serious trolling and bullying behind the scenes. After she had passed, Chloe's mother started to notice a bombardment of hate comments on her channel, with trolls vocalizing their pleasure about Chloe's death. Quote, LOL, she's dead, ha ha ha, the bitch is dead. Chloe's mother would go on to say that it felt like she had been assaulted. Quote, it was like somebody had punched me. I was winded, I felt sick. It's inhuman because the lack of empathy is astonishing. I'd like to have one of them stand in front of me and I'd like to say, okay, you're not hiding behind your little name and you're not hiding behind your little cartoon picture. Say it to my face, because I don't think they could. The British authorities were notified about this mean-spirited activity, and they actually did set out to investigate the accounts posting these hateful comments. YouTube would speak out about it as well, and they tried to take action and ban as many accounts as they could. This small group of detractors would go away with time, and Chloe's channel remains up to this day. You can visit it now to get a glimpse into her life, and it acts as a memorial of sorts. Rest in peace to Chloe Shaw. An abandoned channel that sits at over 100,000 subscribers is Geriatric 1927. While the reason for Geriatric's disappearance from YouTube isn't super disturbing and is probably somewhat obvious, that doesn't mean his story isn't remarkable. Geriatric was truly one of the first successful senior content creators on this platform, and he used the final years of his life to impart his invaluable wisdom to the younger folks out there. This is the story of Geriatric 1927. Peter Oakley, aka Geriatric 1927, was an older YouTuber born August 20th, 1927, and he had quite the life with plenty of stories to tell. And in his old age, he discovered YouTube. The old man became addicted after finding these videos and decided that he would start uploading content of his own.
I got addicted to YouTube, and had a fascinating place to go to see all the wonderful videos that you young people had produced. So I thought I'd have a go at doing one myself.
He created a YouTube channel in August of 2006. His first few videos were essentially test footage with him tinkering about trying to figure out how this, YouTube thing works. And these videos in and of themselves were interesting to others on the platform. An old man on YouTube back in 06 was like super rare.
There was a when they demobilized you, they kitted you out with a new set of clothes. Yeah, which of course was good. I had quite a nice suit and everything that went with it, shirt and tie and shoes and a suitcase. But the silliest thing was also a trilby hat. Well, there was no way a young man of 20 was going to wear a trilby hat. I think they must have bought a job lot in or something. But I don't know what happened to it, but actually I wish I'd got it now, because it would be so kitsch as to be, in present terminology, cool.
Yes, Geriatric's channel became a must-see sideshow of sorts in the best way possible. To highlight his popularity, it said that at one point he had 4,700 notifications from YouTube in his email inbox, meaning he frequently received comments from curious viewers. Users wanted to know why an old man was making videos on YouTube. So Peter decided that he would tell his life story in a series called Telling It All. This would basically be an autobiographical series that went deep into his history. Some of his stories would involve childhood retellings about how he witnessed as a young teenager the bombings of his hometown by the Nazi Luftwaffe.
It was one night, and there was an horrendous noise of bombs falling, and an enemy bomber had fortunately crossed our lane, dropping a series of bombs as it went. If it had gone down the lane, there would have been very much more chaos and casualties. It did hit one house, and of course with the nasty consequences that you would imagine happened. But we were quite lucky in that one of the bombs in the sequence did land at the end of our garden. At the end of our garden there was a park called Waterloo Park, and that bomb didn't go off and was subsequently defused and taken away. If it had have gone off, if we were in our shelter, I dare say we would have survived, but certainly if we were in the house, we would not.
So he would reveal that he joined the British Army during World War II after being drafted. There he became a radar technician.
From the age of 16 and you're getting near to 18, you're waiting for that brown envelope to come through the door that's going to say you've conscripted, drafted, I suppose, in the American terminology, into the forces. And of course the envelope always comes.
Geriatric highlighted that these radar techs were crucial to the war effort, and mechanics were sworn to secrecy, taking oaths to protect information harvested from the enemy. He even claimed that if you leaked, you would get killed. He talked about how he met his wife and certain hobbies that he got into, such as motorcycles.
The college that handled the sort of work that I was involved in was in Leicester, which is a town in the very centre of England, and it's there that I met my future wife. You've been dying for me to tell you that, haven't you?
Peter would become the first grandpa of YouTube, and his channel was a hit, taking off in the algorithm. Geriatric had risen up in subscriber count to the point where he was the most subscribed channel on YouTube. Yes, an old man. Geriatric also holds the record as the first YouTuber to reach 25,000 subscribers. He had a huge influence on the platform, and his work would go on to inspire other elderly creators to make content. Peter was pleased to see this, as the man had a goal of getting more old folks involved in the online world, so that the memories of his generation could be preserved digitally. Yeah, Geriatric was truly a trailblazer for senior citizen content creators. He's the one that got the ball rolling. He does not support Feature Man, though. Or, what's the other dude's name? Creepy Ed? Throughout his tenure as a YouTuber, Geriatric would upload 434 videos between 2006 and 2014. He would also set up a second channel that was purely dedicated to music called Geriatric 1927 Blues. Unfortunately, Peter's age would catch up to him, as in 2014 he would be diagnosed with an advanced stage of cancer that was untreatable. His final video would be published in February of 2014, and Peter passed away about a month later on March 23, 2014 at 86 years old. Although Peter's life was over, his channel continued to obtain interaction, as his account would hit the 100,000 subscriber milestone 9 years after his death in January of 2023. Peter Oakley is a YouTube legend in a variety of ways. He encouraged more people to come onto the platform, especially older ones. It's always a good idea to go back to the Geriatric channel and pay your respects, but that's Geriatric's story. YoteSlaya is a now abandoned YouTube channel once operated by a man named Brian. It was a classic Let's Play style channel that attracted hundreds of thousands of viewers. They played Borderlands and other games, but the growth of this man's media career would come to a crashing halt one night when the YouTuber decided to make an ill-advised railroad crossing. This is the story of YoteSlaya. Brian Joseph Rickard, aka YoteSlaya, was born December 17, 1982 in Terre Haute, Indiana. Brian was a blue-collar young man who lived within rural Indiana, where he would have two sons, named Matthew Wayne Rickard and Dawson Lee Rickard. In his spare time, he liked to be outdoors and hunting. But what he really loved was video gaming. It would be the catalyst for his YouTube channel's creation, YoteSlaya, of course. Brian would start his channel on March 2nd of 2007, but it wasn't until September 8th of 2010 when he started uploading. The majority of Brian's content at the time was minimal, simple gameplay footage, but he would eventually evolve a bit and started using a microphone to record commentaries.
Alright boys and girls, YoteSlaya here. Got a Modern Warfare 2 gameplay for you. Doing a special dual commentary. Got my brother-in-law here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself there, buddy?
Hey fellas, this is Crown and Coke on the mic. We have a Ground War Team Deathmatch on D-Rail.
There was somebody there. I think your teammate actually killed him on the way up.
As a content creator, Brian grinded as much as possible, putting out daily uploads, playing a variety of games. Whenever he started playing Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies in March of 2011, things really changed for the up.
Alright boys and girls, YoteSlaya here. Got ya Black Ops Nazi Zombies gameplay. And this is the last 5 minutes of my level 58 run that I had. I epically fell here in a minute. I was literally dozing off in the middle of this game.
Black Ops was the start point, Borderlands would be the explosion. After posting Borderlands content in October of 2012, his views shot up to receiving about 1 million per video, and his channel was growing exponentially. In addition to Borderlands and Black Ops content, Brian also posted YoteSlaya vlogs where he showcased himself hanging out with friends and family. Brian also streamed. On September 1st, 2012, Brian would in fact stream for 13 hours, 33 minutes, and 37 seconds in celebration of his 1,337th video, which spells out LEET if you don't know. Needless to say, Brian enjoyed his newfound career as a YouTuber. It allowed him to provide for his family in a way never before financially, and the fact that he could spend more time with his loved ones. Sadly though, this man would only get to exist as a popular content creator for a short time, as, well, his death was around the corner. On Wednesday, October 23rd, 2013, this 30-year-old YouTuber would make an ill-advised decision. As he and his friends, 20-year-old Ashley Pugh and 24-year-old Ryan Cook, they were joyriding around Virgo County, Indiana, while allegedly partaking in a few alcoholic beverages. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, there's been a lot of debate on who was behind the wheel of the vehicle at the time of this encounter, but whoever it was, be it Brian or one of his friends, whoever was behind the wheel made the choice to try to beat an oncoming train at a railroad intersection. This foolish feat did not bode well for Brian and company, as the driver would fail the objective and the vehicle would collide with the massive locomotive, the train smashing into the side of the pickup truck that they were in. The collision would be so violent that it ejected Brian and Ashley from the vehicle. They would be pinned underneath it, all in the vehicle died. Before Brian's name was even announced to the public, fellow content creators had caught wind of the death, and they would make comments on social media regarding his passing. Condolences would be all over Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Brian's YoteSlaya channel is still considered one of the largest Borderlands 2 channels on YouTube, even without him uploading for close to 10 years. He's renowned as a YouTube legend, and his channel will remain abandoned. On YouTube, there exists a channel by the name of Martyn Hett. It was created by an at-the-time British teenager of the same name back in 2007. It used to be frequently updated by the creator, who posted various vlogs and re-upload clips of the British sitcom Coronation Street. However, this activity would cease on April 16, 2017, after the upload of what would be the channel's final video. After this upload, Martyn Hett's channel remains forsaken to this day, and the tragic circumstances surrounding its abandonment would make international news headlines. This is the tragic story of Martyn Hett. Martyn Hett was born on December 15, 1987 in Tameside, England, growing up happy with his mother and father. Martyn had multiple siblings, including his older brother, Dan Hett, who is notable for being an award-winning digital artist and game developer. Martyn has been described by many in his life as a natural-born entertainer, a class clown of sorts in school, and a social butterfly in his everything else that's not school, pretty much. He was always down to meet new people and try to get a laugh out of them. His penchant for amusing others would eventually lead him down the path of YouTube content creation, with him uploading various skits and comedy bits, and also re-uploads of Coronation Street throughout the years. When Martyn was still a teenager, on August 29, 2007, he would create the Martyn Hett YouTube channel. His first video would be a trailer of sorts that was a dramatization consisting of multiple vlogs showing elements of his personal and social life. The piece titled Martyn's Life Season 1 Trailer. This video was uploaded on September 3rd of 2007, and the next 3 pieces of content that Martyn uploaded were in the same vein. Mainly, they were just highlight videos of Martyn and his friends goofing about on camera, as well as performing skits and comedy acts. His uploads would be infrequent at this point, as there didn't really seem to be a purpose for the channel. Martyn just didn't take it too seriously. He was uploading whatever at the time. However, the content uploaded to Martyn's channel would begin to shift in 2012, with the bulk of the uploads consisting entirely of clips from a British soap opera called Coronation Street, which you'll soon find is Martyn's favorite TV show of all time. Coronation Street, often referred to by fans as Corey, is one of the longest running television shows in history. A huge fan of the show, it would be through uploading clips from this sitcom that Martyn would find his first shock of YouTube attention, as a cult following of Coronation Street fans would discover his channel and treated it as a niche fan page of sorts for the show. On December 1st, 2012, Martyn would upload his most popular video to his channel, which consisted of a collection of one of Corey's main characters, Audrey Roberts, making her signature questioning sigh over and over again.
It's a bit late worrying about that, huh? You love it, don't you, huh? So what you gonna do, A wake-up call for what precisely?
Basically, Martyn forming a highlight reel/meme edit out of love for the character. This video would go on to accumulate over 700,000 views and would solidify Martyn's channel into a Coronation Street hub of sorts for superfans of the show. Every piece of content subsequently uploaded by Martyn that had anything to do with this soap opera would get a decent amount of views from fellow fans. We're talking thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. Martyn had, intentionally or not, created a community of people with similar interests. And considering the waning popularity of the show, it's 60 years old at this point, I'm sure fans appreciated his channel as a place where they could talk freely and laugh with others about their love for this piece of media. Martyn, in his own way, had done thousands of online strangers across the internet a favor by freebooting these clips. I call it chaotic good copyright infringement. Now, outside of the internet, Martyn's life was going pretty well. In 2013, the man's IRL career was jump-started after he managed to find employment as a PR manager for the Manchester-based business agency Rumpus. Even with traditional employment, Martyn still expressed himself creatively online and divulged more personal details about his personal life to fans. Martyn would be open about the fact that he was gay, and he would from time to time share photos online showing him attending LGBTQ events. And aside from his fanaticism for Coronation Street, Martyn also began openly showcasing his standhood for Mariah Carey on YouTube, posting many clips and videos regarding the woman, solidifying the singer as his second most loved obsession, if you will. He got even more popular IRL, with the guy getting on game shows at one point, and in April of 2015, Martyn would actually get an opportunity to meet Mariah Carey, and he ended up getting one of his t-shirts signed by the woman.
I love you! Sorry. Yes, I love you. Oh my God! Mariah! Can you give this to us?
Yes, thanks to his YouTube channel's popularity with Coronation Street fans, Martyn began to become somewhat famous IRL. As a result of him sparking the fan base, he was invited on several radio shows to discuss his peculiar affinity for Coronation Street, his love for the show getting so extreme that he actually got a tattoo of one of the characters' names on his body. That tattoo being in honor of Deidre Barlow, which was his favorite character apparently. In a radio interview, Martyn would discuss that he was such a big fan of the show that his entire house was basically a museum or shrine dedicated to the soap opera.
How you doing, Martyn?
I'm alright, thanks. How are you?
Is inner calf a correct description of where it is?
Yes, yeah, inner calf, yeah.
Inner calf, right. And give people an idea of the dimensions of your tattoo.
The dimensions, oh right, so it's just over half of my lower leg.
So you're a fan of Coronation Street then?
I'm a Coronation Street super fan, yes. My house is practically a Coronation Street museum.
In hilarious fashion, Martyn would actually later appear on television on an episode of Tattoo Fixers, and what they did was basically pimp out his Deidre tattoo to make it a full portrait of the woman. He was all in with Coronation Street. Yes, in both the online and real world, Martyn was thriving. He was able to express himself freely, had something of a fan base, a solid career in media brewing up, and an ever-expanding network and social circle. The future was looking like it couldn't be brighter for the young man. But of course, this is a video all about abandoned channels with disturbing backstories. So what happened? Martyn's last YouTube video would be published to his channel on April 16th of 2017. It was a meme-style edit video in which Martyn showed Liverpool singer Heidi Raines providing the siren sound for an emergency vehicle. Martyn didn't have time to publish any more content for the rest of this month, as after all, he was preparing for an Ariana Grande concert that was to take place in Manchester in just a few weeks. Yes, that Ariana Grande concert.
Moments from the end, this. Look to the left of the screen, the flash of the explosion, and then the boom. Inside the arena, this is what it was like.
Oh my God. What's going on? What just happened? What's going on? Oh my God!
On Monday, May 22nd, 2017, prior to getting to the Grande show, Martyn would attend a radio interview for BBC Radio 5 Live. He was invited to speak as a result of his online fame regarding Coronation Street and what he had done for the fandom. In many ways, this would serve as Martyn's final address to the niche online fan base that he had fostered over the last decade. Sometime after 6 p.m., he would take a tram to Manchester with one of his friends, the men getting hyped for the show and listening to Ariana Grande's music on the way there. Martyn would arrive at the show at 8:45 p.m. as Ariana Grande had already taken the stage. An estimated 14,200 fans were in attendance. Martyn would meet his other friends at this concert, and they made their way to the front row where they watched and enjoyed the musical talent of one of the most notable pop singers in the world at the time. A bystander says, quote, "He was singing at the top of his voice, dancing without a care in the world. It was such a great time to be together." It's said that Martyn had the time of his life at this show. He was dancing, there were people around him, he was just thrilled to be there in that moment. Now later in the night, as Ariana's set began to finish up, Martyn would leave the arena stage around 10:28 p.m., winding up in the city room foyer where he laughed and joked with the arena security staff. One of the stewards reportedly witnessed Martyn filming himself while enjoying this moment. It would later be said that the only reason that Martyn was in the city room foyer is because he just happened to have striked up a conversation with somebody about Coronation Street of all things. Sadly though, the city room was about to be attacked. At 10:31 p.m., a nail bomb weighing more than 66 pounds was detonated in the city room by Islamic terrorist Salman Abedi. Apparently, Mr. Hett was only 4 meters away from the explosion. Unfortunately for Martyn, his body suffered multiple injuries. One injury included shrapnel to the neck, which would lead to his death. Martyn was one of 22 victims from that night, and Salman Abedi was also killed in the explosion. It was a bombing. The news of the explosion and the attack would take the media by storm, and as word was beginning to break out, Martyn's mother and stepfather were the first relatives to arrive at the scene. Stuart Murray, Martyn's stepdad, thought the worst. Quote, "I just thought, bloody hell, they must have hundreds of bodies laid out there on the football pitch. Are we going to have to walk around all these bodies to see if one of them is Martyn?" At the same time, it was still early. I was thinking he's probably just gone AWOL. Martyn, when he went out, traditionally went astray. He once phoned us saying, "I've fallen asleep on the train home to Stockport and woken up in Nottingham. What should I do?" He was always losing his phone. Sadly, this wasn't one of those cases. As the British authorities searched for the missing victims that attended the Ariana Grande concert, the police had to ask Martyn's parents about any noticeable features on his body that could be used to identify him. And well, the feature they gave him was the Coronation Street tattoo. This would be used to help identify Martyn. Martyn's parents were beginning to give up hope as the search went on, and just as they were on their way back to the vehicle, that's when they were tapped on by police. A liaison officer would inform them that, unfortunately, Martyn Hett had passed away. He was killed in the explosion. Both the parents and the liaison officer broke down into tears during this instance. The rest of Martyn's family, who were still at home waiting on the news of his whereabouts, were already being pestered by journalists as the news had leaked. They didn't even have official confirmation, and there were people trying to talk to them. Not the best situation. Well, after news broke around the world about the Manchester bombing and Martyn Hett's death, he would be celebrated by the media to the point where #BeMoreMartyn was trending on social media, with people saying that we should all strive to be like Martyn Hett. His love for Coronation Street would be well known around the world, and support of Martyn would be given by cast members of the show, both current and previous. Several even attended his funeral. In time, the media would move on from this tragedy, and the family continued to remember their son in their own ways. Martyn's mother would complete a master's degree in counterterrorism. She would also spearhead Martyn's Law. The law would put in effect simple and effective methods that allow high-capacity businesses and events to remain protected against terrorism without the threat of it being cost-inducing. And I really like how Martyn's stepdad paid respect. Martyn's stepfather would later go on the Tattoo Fixer's television show that Martyn had been on previously, and the stepfather would receive his own Deidre Barlow tattoo, except it was actually a photo of Martyn dressed up as Deidre. Martyn Hett's YouTube channel and Twitter account remain up to this day, and you can visit his channel to pay respects and get a glimpse of what this man was like in his life. An individual that made those around him smile, entertaining many, creating a niche online fan base. That is the story of Martyn Hett and his tragic passing. And well, you've made it to the end. Let me know what you guys thought about this video down below in the comment section, and let me know who or what you want me to talk about next. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. WavyWebSurf out. Peace.